Ever feel like a dog chasing a car, panting, desperate, running towards something you wouldn't even know what to do with if you caught it? That's how they've trained you. Yeah, trained. Like an obedient pet, waiting for scraps, wagging its tail for approval, chasing after things that don't even matter. They've conditioned you to run, to want, to chase endlessly but never arrive. And the worst part, you don't even realize it. They flood your world with distractions, shiny little toys to keep your mind occupied, to keep your eyes off the truth. Flashing screens, trending topics, scandals, gossip, outrage. They need you looking at the lights, consumed by the noise, hypnotized by the spectacle, because the moment you stop and see what's really happening, the illusion shatters. You were never meant to win their game, but you're different. At least you could be. C. They don't want you to focus. Focus is dangerous. Focus is power. And real power, it terrifies them. Because focus cuts through their illusions like a blade through silk. It strips away the distractions, the manipulation, the carefully crafted lies. Focus lets you see, and the moment you really see the game they're playing, it's over for them. So they do everything in their power to keep you blind. They dangle fake victories in front of you. Get the degree, get the job, get the car, get the house, get the approval. Step after step, goal after goal, always moving, always chasing, always almost happy, almost fulfilled, but never quite there. Like a hamster running on a wheel, thinking it's getting somewhere, but it's just spinning. And you wonder why, no matter how much you win, you still feel empty. Because you were never meant to win. Not in their game. Their game is designed to keep you running in circles. Because as long as you're chasing their version of success, you're not building your own. As long as you're seeking their approval, you're not thinking for yourself. But let me tell you what real winning looks like. Winning is not playing their game at all. Winning is stepping off the wheel, breaking the cage, and becoming untouchable. And to do that, you need focus. Not the kind they teach you in school. Not the kind that gets you better grades or a promotion. I'm talking about real focus. The kind that makes people uncomfortable. The kind that makes people fear you. Because when you're focused, truly focused, they can't shake you. They can't manipulate you. They can't distract you with their petty games and shallow dramas. They'll try. They'll whisper in your ear, relax a little. Why are you so serious? You're obsessed. They'll laugh. They'll roll their eyes. They'll call you crazy, heartless, extreme. Because to them, discipline looks like madness. But let them talk. The undisciplined will always call the disciplined insane. Let them mock you. Let them doubt you. Let them gossip. And you keep moving. Because here's the truth. Most people crave validation. They need someone to tell them they're good enough, smart enough, successful enough. They live for likes, for comments, for applause. But when you focus, when you cut through the noise, you won't need their approval anymore. And that is when they'll really start to hate you. That's when they'll call you dangerous. Because a man who doesn't seek approval is a man they cannot control. Ever notice how the strongest people don't talk much? They don't argue. They don't explain themselves. They don't waste energy trying to convince anyone of anything. They just move. While everyone else is whining, pointing fingers, making excuses. Playing the victim. They're building, they're mastering, they're rising. You could be one of them, but only if you starve the distractions. Do you know why people fear the dark? It's not because they can't see. It's because in the darkness, there are no distractions. It's just them and their thoughts. And most people can't handle that. They need the noise, the chaos, the constant chatter. Because if they were left alone with themselves, they'd have to face what they really are. But you embrace it. You sit in that silence. You let it strip away the weakness, the doubt, the fear. You let it refine you. And then you come back sharper than ever. Because the real war, it's not out there. It's inside. It's the war against your own weakness, your own excuses, your own distractions. And the moment you win that war, nothing else matters. Because when you're truly focused, their games, their lies, their little manipulations, they become laughable. You won't even be angry anymore. You'll just see them for what they are: small, petty, insignificant. So tell me, are you ready? Ready to starve the distractions? Ready to step off their stage? Ready to become untouchable? Then focus and never look back. Because here's the funniest part. The moment you stop playing, They panicked up, they lose their grip. People like you, the ones who see through the mask you, terrify them. They built this entire world on illusions, on cheap tricks, on making you feel like you need them. But when you finally stop chasing their empty rewards, when you stop needing their approval, they crumble. They realize you were never theirs to control. You ever watch someone try to play chess against a man who refuses to make a move? They sit there, waiting, strategizing, anticipating your next step. But you're not even on the board. You're somewhere else entirely, building something real. That's what happens when you focus. That's what happens when you cut the noise. You stop reacting to their bait. You stop engaging in their pointless arguments, their mindless distractions, their fake little dramas designed to keep you spinning in circles. And suddenly, they don't know what to do with you, because they need your attention, desperately. They need you watching, they need you caring, they need you reacting. Because the moment you unplug, they lose everything, and that drives them insane. You've already moved on, you're too busy to locked in to focused on building, while they're still stuck in their little worlds of gossip, jealousy, and cheap distractions. And let me tell you something, nothing breaks people more than being ignored. They can handle insults, they can handle fights, they thrive on drama. But when you become so focused, so unshakable, that you no longer can see them, that's when they start falling apart, because they realize you were never playing the same game. You were never competing with them. You were always destined for something bigger. But here's the real test. Can you handle being alone? Because focus, real focus, it's lonely. You will lose people. You will outgrow them, and it won't even be a conscious decision. They'll remove themselves, because when you start moving at a different speed, when you start thinking on a different level, they won't be able to keep up. And instead of pushing themselves to grow, instead of stepping up, they'll resent you. They'll make excuses. They'll say you've changed, you've become distant, you've lost yourself. But you didn't lose yourself, you found yourself. You stopped wasting time. You stopped watering dead plants. You stopped pretending that people who had no discipline, no vision, no strength were your equals. They were never your equals. You just lowered yourself to their level for too long. So what happens now? Now you rise, you put your head down, you shut out the noise, and you build the life they never believed you could. Not to prove them wrong, no, not for them, for you. Because this was never about them. It was never about making them understand, making them respect you, making them believe in you. It was about you finally believing in yourself. And when you finally arrive, when you become everything they said you couldn't, you won't even feel the need to tell them. You won't go back to rub it in their faces. You won't care if they see it or not, because by then, they won't matter. Their opinions, their judgments, their doubts, none of it will touch you anymore. Because you'll be too far ahead, to locked in, to focused on the next mountain, the next level, the next vision. That's power, not money, not fame. Control over yourself, control over your mind, control over your focus. That's what makes you unstoppable. So tell me, are you ready to be unstoppable? Or are you still worried about their games? You see, the world isn't run by loud ones. It isn't ruled by those who scream the most, who fight for attention, woe, beg to be seen. No, the world belongs to those who know how to move in silence, the ones who disappear for months, for years, who let everyone think they've fallen off, when in reality, they've been sharpening their swords in the shadows. That's where the real power is. That's where legends are made, not in the noise, not in the spectacle, but in the relentless silent work that no one sees. You ever wonder why the most powerful men don't talk much? Why the most dangerous minds don't explain themselves? Because they don't have to. They don't waste their energy justifying their actions, convincing doubters, or seeking validation from the crowd. They don't need to be understood, accepted, or praised. They already know who they are. They already know what they're building, and they don't need permission to do it. That's what separates them from the rest. That's what divides the kings from the pawns, the predators from the prey, the unstoppable from the forgotten. The weak crave attention. They need eyes on them. They need applause, reassurance, admiration. They need to be seen, to feel like they matter. They measure their worth in likes, in views, in fleeting approval. But the strong just need time. Time to build, time to grow, time to become untouchable. And that's the real problem, isn't it? Most people don't have the patience to disappear. They don't have the discipline to step away from the noise, to put in the years of unseen work, to move in silence while the world chases illusions. They want results now, today, instantly. And because of that, they break. Because the journey, it's long. It's lonely. It's brutal. And most people aren't built for it. They want shortcuts. They want hacks. They want the reward without the sacrifice. They want the victory without the war. They want to stand on top of the mountain without ever feeling the burn in their legs. But when they realize there's no easy way, they quit. They tell themselves it was impossible. They tell themselves they never really wanted it. They tell themselves it wasn't worth it. And just like that, they settle. They trade their potential for comfort, their ambition for distraction, their hunger for excuses. And that's where you have to be different. You have to love the climb. You have to fall in love with the process, with the hunger, with the suffering, with the struggle, because that's what makes you dangerous. Not money, not status, not some empty title. Hunger, the kind of hunger that makes a man unstoppable. The kind of hunger that makes people nervous because they can't buy you, they can't tempt you, they can't break you. You don't move for validation. You don't bend for approval. You don't compromise for acceptance. And when you reach that level, when you become so focused, so locked in, so obsessed that nothing else matters, that's when you become a problem. Because now, you're no longer part of their game. Now, you don't care about their distractions. You don't crave their approval. You don't chase their empty little victories. Now, you're playing a game they don't even understand. While they fight for attention, for clout, for meaningless trophies, you're building something real. And that terrifies them. Because deep down, they know they wasted their time. They know they took the easy road. They know they settled for comfort instead of greatness. But by the time they realize it, it's too late. You're already too far ahead. Too powerful, too disciplined. Too unshakable. And that's when they'll try to pull you back. That's when they'll start whispering in your ear again. You've changed. You're too serious. Relax a little. Because your existence, your focus, is a reminder of everything they could have been. And instead of pushing themselves, instead of rising to your level, they'll try to bring you back down to theirs. Because that's what the weak do. When they see someone growing, someone evolving, someone breaking through the limits they were too afraid to challenge, they don't celebrate it, they resent it. Because every step you take forward is proof that they could have done the same. But they didn't. And rather than face that truth, they'd rather drag you back into their comfort zone. But you won't go back. Not this time. Because now you see it. Now you understand. The distractions. The noise. The games. It was all designed to keep you small. To keep you weak. To keep you chasing instead of building. But now that you see the truth, you will never be blind again. Because the moment you wake up, the moment you finally understand that focus is power, you become something else entirely. You become unstoppable. You don't react. You don't chase. You don't explain. You build. And no one, no force, no temptation, no distraction can ever take that away from you. So let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them doubt you. Let them think you've lost. And then when the time is right, show them what focus really looks like. The moment you stop playing their game, everything changes. What they don't want you to know, the part they will never tell you. The moment you stop playing their game, the entire world shifts. The moment you silence the noise, the distractions, the opinions, the endless cycle of validation seeking, everything starts to fall into place. You stop chasing. And suddenly, everything starts chasing you. The respect. The success. The opportunities. The power. It all starts flowing to you. Not because you begged for it. Not because you followed their rules. Not because you played by their system. But because you became the kind of person who commands it without asking. That's the secret. That's the cheat code they'll never teach you. The moment you stop craving validation, the moment you stop needing approval, is the moment you become undeniable. But most people, they will never get there. They'll spend their whole lives looking left and right, checking who's ahead, who's watching, who's approving. They will waste years competing with people who don't even matter, fighting for attention that disappears the second they look away. And then, one day, they'll reach the end. They'll look back and realize they were running on a treadmill, moving fast but going nowhere. And by then, it'll be too late. That's why you need to detach. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Burn the need for validation. Erase the desire for approval. Walk away from their games and never look back. Because you don't need them. You never did. You were just trained to believe that you did. But once you see it, once you truly see it, everything changes. You start moving differently. You stop wasting words. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing the things they told you to chase. And that's when the fear sets in. Not for you, for them. Because now they know. They can't reach you. They can't manipulate you. They can't slow you down. They can't make you doubt yourself. And nothing scares weak people more than a man who doesn't need them. The shift you'll notice at the shift, the way they start acting differently around you, the way their jokes stop being funny when you don't react, the way their words start sounding hollow when you don't seek their approval. Because now, you're seeing through them. Now, you're seeing through the entire system. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. They'll call you cold. They'll say you don't care. But what they really mean is you don't care about their distractions anymore. You don't care about their fake drama. Their empty opinions. Their meaningless debates. Because you're too busy building something real. And that makes you a threat. Ever notice how they praise the ones who stay in line? The ones who follow the script. The ones who keep their heads down and don't ask questions. That's because those people are safe. They're predictable. They're controllable. But the moment you start thinking for yourself, the moment you start moving on your own terms, that's when you become dangerous. That's when they start fearing you. Because a man with focus, he's unstoppable. You can take his money. You can take his status. You can take his comforts. But you can't take his mind. You can't take his discipline. You can't take his will. And that's the one thing they will never be able to break. Let them talk, so let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them try to pull you back into their world of distractions and illusions. And then, keep moving, keep building, keep sharpening, keep evolving. Because one day, they'll look around and realize you're gone. You didn't just rise above them. You left them behind entirely. And by then, it won't even matter. Because you'll be too focused to hear them, too locked in to care, too busy winning a game they never even knew existed. And when you finally get there, when you've outgrown their world, when their opinions sound like distant echoes, when their little games seem so laughably small, you'll realize something. You never needed to fight them. You never needed to argue. You never needed to prove anything. All you had to do was walk away. That's the irony, isn't it? The strongest move was never about crushing them. Never about forcing them to understand. Never about getting even. It was about detachment. About stepping into a world they could never reach. Because people like them, the ones who cling to distractions, who drown in noise, who waste their lives chasing empty things, they don't belong in your world. They never did. And if you waste your time trying to pull them up, trying to explain what they refuse to see, trying to save those who don't want to be saved, you'll only slow yourself down. Letting go, that's the hardest part, isn't it? The part that stings the most, letting go, realizing that not everyone is meant to come with you, that some people, they were never meant to last. But here's the truth, you can't carry dead weight and expect to fly. You can't reach the highest levels while dragging people who refuse to climb. You can't rise while still worrying about those who are perfectly content, staying exactly where they are. And if you spend your life waiting for them to catch up, waiting for them to understand, waiting for them to match your hunger, you'll die waiting, because they will never change. Not until it's too late. Not until they've wasted everything. Not until they have nothing left but regret. So you have two choices: move forward or stay behind. Keep rising or keep waiting. But understand this: every second you waste trying to explain yourself, trying to make them see, trying to get them to understand, you're stealing from your future, from the man you could become, from the empire you could build, from the life that could have been yours if only you had let go sooner. And make no mistake, they will come back. They always do. The same ones who doubted you, who laughed, who mocked your discipline, who said you were taking life too seriously. They will return. But not because they respect you, not because they finally see your vision, but because they need something. And you will have a choice. You could let them in, give them a seat at the table they never helped you build. Or you could remember that they wouldn't have done the same for you. And then, keep moving. *QC. Madness is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. Look at them. Squirming, watching, seething. Oh, they'll pretend they don't care. They'll scoff, roll their eyes, whisper their little jokes. But deep down, deep down, it eats them alive. Because here's the punchline. My dear friend, they have the same chances, the same 24 hours, the same air in their lungs, But what did they do with it? Played their silly little games, danced for approval, laughed at those who worked in silence, while they wasted their lives being entertained. And now, the joke's on them. They mock you when you're in the trenches, when you're grinding, when you're clawing your way up from the abyss. Oh, they're loud then. But where were they when you were alone in the dark? When the world chewed you up and spat you out? When you had nothing but a fire in your gut and a dream in your head? Nowhere. That's where. And that, my dear, is the grand test, the final reveal. People are only loyal to their own comfort. Oh, they act like they want you to win. They say they support you. But the second you actually start becoming something greater, oh, how quickly their smiles fade. See, they were fine when you were trying. They only hate you when you start succeeding, because it reminds them of what they could have been. But you, oh ho, you're different. You're not a sheep. You're not a puppet. You're not one of them. And that's why you have to shut the door. Not out of hate. Oh no. That would mean you still care. You shut the door because some bridges, they deserve to burn, because some people, they were never meant to be in the final act, the final trick, the art of disappearing. And here we are, the grand finale, the final, delicious, cruel lesson. You see, most people, they fear letting go. They cling, they scratch, they beg to stay, attached to things that don't serve them, because letting go means change, and change, that's terrifying. But you're not afraid, because you know the truth. Comfort is a slow death. Familiarity is a prison. And the moment you stop evolving, you start dying. That's why you move forward. Not because you're running, not because you're afraid, but because you refuse to rot in the same graveyard as the weak. So let them talk, let them whisper, let them tell themselves whatever they need to sleep at night. Because one day they'll wake up and realize you're gone. Not just ahead of them, not just successful, but completely untouchable. And that's when the silence sets in. For the first time in their lives, they'll have to sit with themselves. No distractions, no validation, no noise. Just the empty realization that they wasted their time chasing nothing. And oh, how it will burn. Because deep down, they'll know they had the same chances. They had the same time. They just chose wrong. But you didn't. And that's why you win. Not because they lost, not because you crushed them, not because you needed to prove anything, but because their games, their opinions, their existence, it stopped mattering a long time ago. 3 rules for the ones who dare to leave the circus. Oh, but before you go, before you vanish into the mist, leaving them to rot in their own regrets, let me give you a little parting gift. 3 little jokes for the road. Call them rules if you like. Call them laws of the untouchable. 1. Silence is your greatest weapon. The moment you stop explaining, stop justifying, stop reacting, you become a ghost. And nothing haunts weak minds more than the one who slipped through their fingers. Let them wonder, let them obsess, let them destroy themselves trying to figure you out. You, stay quiet, stay lethal, stay focused. 2. Cut the strings, no attachments, no weakness. They will come back. They always do. The same ones who laughed, who doubted, who mocked you. Oh, they'll return with smiles and open arms, but not because they love you. No, because they need something. And that's when you remember, where were they when you had nothing? If they weren't with you in the shadows, they don't deserve a seat at the table in the light. Lock the door, lose the key, keep moving. 3. The game was never about winning, it was about loving. Ultimate power move. Walking away, not fighting. Not arguing, not proving anything. Just disappearing from their world entirely. Because in the end, it was never about beating them. It was about outgrowing them so much that they never even existed in your reality to begin with. And that, my dear friend, is the final trick. The moment you realize you never needed them, that's when you truly become free.